Hey, what's happening everyone? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Ryan, and today I wanted to talk about 3 simple lighting techniques to help drive the narrative in your stories. Lighting is a key element in telling any type of story, whether it's to create some mystery or to create a scare. Lighting is a very powerful tool, and if used properly, you could really drive the narrative of your stories. Okay, so let's get into it. Using practicals to motivate your lighting. Basically what this means, in this case, I'm using my market lights out in my backyard to use as the motivation for the lighting setup I'm about to show you. I really loved the way this looked, so I took a photo and analyzed that. And here's what I came up with. And I used my Amaran 60X as a filler light and set it at the same temp as the market lights. I thought about using my Light Dome Mini softbox for this because it was easy to take with me and it wouldn't be a pain to set it up and tear it down because, again, we're trying to go for a more simplistic lighting setup. But instead, to make it a little easier, I decided to bring some scrim. I used unbleached white muslin. I get this for about 10 bucks a yard. However, you could use any kind of bed sheet or shower curtain and it would work all the same. Here's what it looks like without the scrim, and here's what it looks like with the scrim and the Amaran 60X a good distance behind that. Because there wasn't any moonlight and it was cloud cover mostly, I had to emulate the moonlight. But to emulate that moonlight, I decided to use my Ambit Full A2 tube light, set it to a cool setting, and I wanted to set this up a little higher than myself, than the subject, to emulate the moonlight falling down. Here's a final result of the entire setup, light by light. Here's the shot with just the market lights. Then we add in the Amaran 60X as our filler, and then the emulated moonlight to complete the look. I really enjoy this look, and the best part about the whole thing is that it was super simple to set up and it didn't have to break the bank. Okay, lighting setup number 2, the highlighter, or at least that's what I'm calling it. This is used in a lot of Hollywood films, and basically what this means is to highlight the most important subject or thing in your scene. There is a lot going on in any given scene, and if you want your viewers to keep track of what's important, make sure you're highlighting that thing or person in your scene. Maybe it's an object that your character is holding or a facial expression that you want your viewers to catch. Either way, it's important to highlight these things and make sure everything else around are in the dark. Here's a quick scene that I put together where you see me walking up to the light, where you can only see my eyes and my facial expressions. With this scene, I was hoping to create a bit of mystery for the one character. You don't know if you can trust him. I wanted to create all of this mystery just by using the lighting alone. This is a really simple setup, and also another one that you could do very inexpensively. For the lighting, I used my Amaran 61X again, and I put that behind a cardboard cutout so that I was only getting the light on the character's eyes. I also used my Aperture 120D Mark II with the lantern light and the skirt, so that way I didn't have any spill on the background behind the character, and I was only focusing on the character himself. I wanted to have a bit of fill, but also keep him in the shadow, but control how much shadow I was placing on the character. And then finally, I used my Ambit Full A2 tube light once again, setting it to a cool setting and then putting it in the room behind the character, turning off all of the other lighting to add a little bit of color contrast as well. There's a lot of lighting going on here, but you could also do this at a much lower price point. If you wanted to eliminate all of that, you could just use the Ambit Full with the cardboard and still get a pretty decent result. Okay, and here is what that whole setup looks like light by light. We're using the Aperture 120D with the lantern light. After that, we add the Amaran 60X with the cardboard cutout. And then we have our Ambit Full A2 in the other room just to give off a bit of cooler light in the background. All right, and now for our third and final lighting setup, bold colors. Using color can really set the tone for any scene. There are a lot of films that use bold colors in their films to kind of drive the narrative of their scene and direct the viewer down the path of the story that they've written. But it's really important to be careful when using bold colors because color changes can really change the perspective of the story to your viewers. Here's an example from one of my most recent movie trailers. We did this for Edit Fest by Film Supply. This was our submission. It's called Magnus, and we decided to set the opening scene in the future, and we wanted it to feel really cold and really dark and really futuristic. I don't want to spoil it, so I'll leave a link in the description below. But anyway, back to this movie trailer. We used a lot of blue tones, and we used the black slat wall that we have here in the studio in the podcast room. We actually didn't get any behind the scenes footage as we were filming this movie trailer. We were in a hurry and we wanted to get the submission out early, but here's some B-roll of us recreating this scene. First, we started with our key light, which was the Ambit Full A2 set at a cooler setting. By the way, this video is not sponsored, but I really love this tube light. I got it for about $52.99 on Amazon. It's always worked great, and I've had it for many months now. It's been a lifesaver in a pinch when I really need something and I need to magnetize the light or put it in some weird place. And also too, if you're on a time schedule, this is a great way to get great lighting for a very inexpensive price. So anyway, back to the trailer. We used the Ambit Full A2 as our key light, and then we used the tube light behind me, which is a digital photo tube light. We use that at a cool setting as well and put that behind the subject to act as a hair light. We wanted this room to feel dark and cold because there's a shot right before that where they see the computer analyzing the other person, the other character, and we wanted to match the lighting in that scene. And finally, I wanted to add a third light to add a bit of fill and color contrast to round out this look. For this, we were going to use our Aperture 120D Mark II, but to keep things even simpler, we decided to go with our Amaran 60X again. We set it behind this door and put it to about 20% to add a little warmth to the blue. This really helped to offset the blue in the shot. Okay, so here's the setup light by light. First, here's the scene without any of the lighting, and then adding in the key light, then with the hair light, and then finally with our filler light. And this is the final look. All in all, I thought it looked really great. It's probably the simplest setup that we did out of all three of these lighting setups, and it was super fun to do. So anyway, thank you so much for joining us in this video. We hope that you enjoy these lighting setups and that you go out and use them in your own films. If you like this video or you learned something, please press the like button below. Consider subscribing if you haven't already, and we'll see you in the next one. Laters.